What's up with that? Two cowards who don't even smoke crack. What's up with that? Two cowards who don't even smoke crack.
Let's start, I guess. What's up,
I'm gonna
bud?
do the.
How was
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Better now that I don't have to listen to Yule Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack again this week.
Yeah, well, you only had to listen to it, what, 3 times?
Yeah, I listened to a fourth after you left yesterday.
Oh, good. I'm very, I'm happy for you. I've listened to it 7 times this week. So you're catching up. Four, we'll get to this, but four was my breaking point. Listen, number 4 was my breaking point.
Yeah. Do you want to do the intro
Yeah,
again
yeah,
this week, or?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I
you're good.
really don't want to talk about Viper. I'm going to be honest. I'm avoiding it a little bit. All right. Hey, guys. I'm Garrett.
And I'm Will.
And together we're two cowards who don't even smoke crack. That name is extra applicable this week. This is a podcast of sorts dedicating to reviewing the musical works of Lee Carter, a.k.a. Lee Dog, a.k.a. Cobra, a.k.a. Rip, a.k.a. Diamondback, or as you may know him, Viper. Apparently it is also going to showcase our mental deterioration over the next several albums. Between the two of us, we have zero experience in reviewing music or really professional criticism of any kind. In some ways, this makes us perfect to review Viper because we too know what it feels like to be devoid of any sort of talent.
And I think more than ever, that might be true in both cases.
Episode 2. It's episode fucking 2. This week, if you guys haven't already guessed, we are listening to 2008's, right? 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008's Yule Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack, or as I like to
And
call it, how in the fuck is this the album that made him famous?
I agree, and I have to say this is a very special episode because I really think that this is a turning point in Viper's career.
Right, yeah.
It's where he turned further left from bad to bad.
Yeah. This is where he stopped giving a shit.
He sprinkles the meme in there, where from now on you'll notice it started a little bit in some of those early albums, but he really buys into just his weird, like, sweaty face being the entire album artwork.
Right.
And then some absurd phrase.
Yeah. He knows what sells. I want to point out the album art is just a zoomed in picture of the Southwest Hooligan album art.
That's correct. It's the same picture.
It's the last album he released. Or no, not even the last album he released. Like the 2 or 3 albums earlier.
Ago.
Yeah, 2 albums ago. He said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna take. This is a great picture of me. I look great in this one. Throw this up there." And
It's true.
And he's lazy eyed in it. And that's still the one that he went with. And I gotta say,
he starts off and he knew this was the one. At the very beginning, first song, title track. I sold my soul to Satan, but bought it back from God with this song.
Yes, yeah. As if God and Satan are locked in this ever eternal struggle over who can make the best music. Like,
I mean, Viper is the second coming of Jesus.
That is
as
true.
He has said many times.
That is true. Viper has been pretty explicit about that. I want to point out he does say that he bought it. That's your favorite lyric of the album, correct?
Sure.
All right. He says that in the first song.
Yes.
And it's not a good it's one of the worst songs on the album. I know it's the title track and I know it's like the meme song, but it's one of the worst on the entire album.
Ooh, that's bold.
I think it is.
I don't know. I think it's not great.
So I started noticing this. There's this weird thing, at least on the version that I was listening to, and this may be why I hate this song so much. Because again, I listened to this album 7 times. I listened to it once every day, Monday through Friday, and then yesterday we listened to it twice together. And for whatever reason, I didn't point this out while we were listening to it yesterday because I wanted to bring it up here. If you listen closely, for whatever reason, on this song exclusively, there's no other song like it on the album. There's this weird, like, buzzing white noise on his vocal track. And every time it feels like it's almost like he's it sounds like he's on Discord and he has push to talk on. And every time he wants to rap, he hits push to talk, and you get all of the white noise and buzzing from the background. And he takes his finger off when he's done with his bar, and it disappears. And it
Wow.
and it fucks with the mixing. And it's super. It was not noticeable on my first listen. I did not start hearing it until I listened probably 2 or 3. But after that, I could not hear it, and it just got worse and worse every time. I was still just like, how the fuck? Like, because you got to imagine, he's made at this point 5 albums, and
Right, and he's good pals with the guys at Rhyme Time Records, which is
Right.
like a real respectable Southern rap label.
right, and
So there's no excuse.
assumedly he recorded this not in his house, right? Assumedly he went to a
Correct.
studio, and assumedly if he paid for the studio time, he probably also paid for. I mean, I assume he may have done it himself. He actually may have done all the production himself and done all the mixing.
Supposedly
and
he
everything.
produces all of his own stuff.
Yeah, so he probably did all the mixing himself. But like, it's so obvious. But he still spent. You have to have spent so much time on this album, and on the title track especially. Like, it's the only song like it on the album like that. None of the other songs have that weird vocal buzzing. But it's just so annoying because not only does it affect his vocals, but every time it pops back in, the instrumental gets louder. And I don't know if that's intentional or not, but like it's so annoying. It's infuriating.
I did not notice that, but I'm convinced it's not intentional.
I'm sure
He didn't notice.
Right. I'm sure it's not intentional, but it's like, how the fuck do you leave that in?
Right. So while we're here on
Yeah.
this title track, I watched this on YouTube this time. This track specifically, the first time through.
Yeah.
And there was a comment. I couldn't find it again, so rip YouTube commenter from probably 10 years ago. But
Right.
he said that he found this Viper interview and he linked it, and I watched it, and it's real. And if you skip to a certain point, you can hear Viper say this quote: "You know, there are a couple of ways people can get rid of you after you die.
I also found this exact same quote.
You could be buried or cremated, or
You can be cryogenically frozen.
and potentially reanimated in the future.
That's
and
correct.
That is the choice that I have made.
I did,
Viper will not die.
I did not find that on the first song. I have that written down for song number, let's see, song number 3. That there's a stash spot. I have the note, Viper wants to be cryogenically frozen. Thank
So there you
God.
go.
Thank God. But, which makes sense, right? Like but it almost doesn't, because he did sell his soul to Satan. So that would make sense as to why he doesn't want to die. He's like, fuck that, I'm not going to hell. But then he claims
Right.
to have gotten it back from God with this song. So where's the benefit in being cryogenically frozen? I guess he gets to come
But look,
back.
here's the thing. We've still got a lot of albums to listen to. The
That's
story
true.
continues to grow, I'm
That's-
sure,
that's
as,
true.
as we move on.
Viper lore is deep and intoxicating. Also, while we're here, I do appreciate that he spells on both the name of the album and on the name of this track. He spells it Yule, but he pronounces it y'all, which is absolutely what he's going for, right? He's Texan. He's from fucking Houston. He's absolutely going for y'all. And I mentioned this to you last night. Viper went to college. He assumedly knows like how to spell decently. I mean, maybe the crack has addled his brain. I'm sure that it has had some deleterious effects on his mental capacity. But like, that's a pretty common thing to see, like, written in the South. I mean, you and I are both from the South. I've seen on like Bojangles billboards, it says y'all on it, and it's clear that that's what he's trying to say. So
Yeah.
I don't know why he spells it Yule.
Yeah. I tried to look that up specifically because I had the same question. I was like, is this a Houston thing? Is this a Texas thing? No. It's just a Viper
It's
thing.
just a Viper thing.
So, I don't know. He definitely pronounces it y'all. He definitely says it as y'all,
Yeah.
but it's Yule.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, which I don't know. By the way, I mentioned to you that he went to college. Do you have any further guesses before I tell you where he graduated from?
I would like to reiterate my guess from before is that he and Kamala Harris shared a room at Howard University.
Vice President Kamala Harris and future President Viper shared a room at Howard. No, he went to the University of Houston, which is a fairly respectable like.
They're the Cougars, right?
Yes, and they lost in 1983. They lost the NCAA basketball tournament to NC State when they were coached by Jimmy V. That's the extent of my knowledge of Houston.
Nice.
Of the University of Houston. I believe they are the Cougars. They might be like the Red Rockets
They are
or something.
no, they're the Cougars.
I know. All right, cool.
Well, that's great. I'm glad for him. Did he graduate or did he just go?
That's a great question. I just saw that he attended. I'm not sure if he
Okay.
graduated or not.
Okay.
I mean, shit, he went to a better college than we did, so
That's arguable, but probably true.
that's 100% true.
If you're ready, I'd like to move on to I Sell Dope Boy and run away from the song Y'all Cowards.
Yeah, absolutely. We spent a good like 6 minutes on. We're gonna say y'all cowards from here on because it makes so much more sense, and it's what he
more
means.
time than he put into it, I think. So
Yeah.
so I have a couple of things about I Sell Dope Boy, the second song. First of all, this is the second song in a row. The first two songs both start with the words "What's up?"
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
this is the "What's up? I don't give a fuck."
Right,
And
which is
of course the last one was "What's up with that?" So
what's up with that? I love this fucking album.
it's I don't know. My other note for this song is I was very interested last time. You know, we had the weird slang term for the 9mm pistol.
Right, the Nina Ross.
Well, in I Sell Dope Boy, Viper immediately talks about how he has a 44 Magnum. So I have the note, Viper has upgraded from a 9mm handgun to a 44 Magnum.
No,
and then literally one verse later, he talks about the 9mm again. So he immediately went back to the 9mm. I assume this is to say that he has multiple weapons, which is cool, but the fact that he was talking up this Magnum
Right.
for like a whole like couple of bars about how like he was gonna really show you this 44.
Yeah.
And then like one bar later he's like always rocking my 9. It's like, all right, dude.
Well, I'm more interested in the fiction that you've created that apparently like Houston, Texas is just a Counter-Strike gun game where every album you rank up to get a new gun.
That is correct.
That's pretty good.
Viper has upgraded from 9mm to 44 Magnum. Viper has immediately downgraded.
Oh, dude, I love the chorus on this. The "What's up? I don't give a fuck." Because you know better than probably most people on planet Earth. I'm a gigantic asshole.
Yes.
I have definitely said the phrase to somebody before, like, "Hey man, what's up? I don't give a fuck what you're about to say to me." Mm-hmm. And so that really, really spoke to me on a personal level. It also, I pictured it last night as being like some California, like, LA douchebag being like, "Yo, what's up, bro? I don't give a fuck, bro. You trying to go, bro? Let's fight. Let's go." And
I agree. It's also actually a little fast. It's not that fast, but it's not as
it's fast for Viper.
Fucking slow as like, oh god, some of these like this is how I ball is the hook is so slow.
This song
so
also
just having a little bit of energy to it helps.
Right. Although it is kind of muted by the fact that the entire song is also apparently on a minus 15 decibel fucking effect because it is so quiet.
Yeah, it's very odd because it is more so than any of the others.
Yeah, and we were listening to it last night, and I had to keep adjusting every time we heard this song. I had to keep turning up the volume to go, what the fuck? I can't hear a thing, and then immediately turn it down as soon as the song is over. It's almost like he produced it. He probably honestly
went track by track, I think.
Yeah, he went track by track, and he also this was probably for either an earlier or a later thing, and they had the settings different because he's not a professional. He just goes in and says, "Yeah, fuck it, this sounds good." Doesn't remember.
He probably recorded on the same levels that whoever was in there last used.
Right, exactly. Rather than writing down what he needs to use.
I agree.
That's pretty accurate. The beat also sounds like Baby's first MIDI keyboard, which I
agree. The best beat. This is. Well, I'm gonna touch. I assume we'll both talk about this later, but there's a peak point for the beats on this album. Here about 2 songs from now. He works up to it slowly, and then he hits it, and he's like, "This beat's good. I'm gonna use it for the entire rest of the album.
Right. Well, and it's certainly not the next song. The next song
No, it is not.
The next song.
There's a stash spot. Is that?
That there's a stash spot. The only thing I have written down, number one, I have written down the cover is just Crop Southwest Hooligan. The next is a comment that I saw on the YouTube video about his lazy eye, which is one eye on the game, one eye on the streets, which I really liked.
That. I saw that too. I have the note. This is the third song on the album.
Yes,
and so far,
that
cheese,
there's a stash spot.
The word cheese has already meant both money and crack. So whenever I have a note later. I'll add it now because I think it later in the album the word knot like you're tying a knot.
K-N-O-T.
Yeah, it means money. It means like diamonds or jewelry. It also means head. Like someone's head is a knot if you're shooting them, apparently.
Oh, okay.
And it also means crack. So that's 4 different uses for the word knot.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
Otherwise, I have nothing to say about that. There's a stash spot, except that apparently Viper hides his money in the mailbox.
In the mailbox.
Hey, there's a stash spot.
There's a stash spot. The only other thing I had written down is that the beat sounds like robot farts. That's all. That's literally the only like productive.
Are you sure you're not a professional music reviewer?
That's the only productive note that I had for this one. Let's move on to
please. Eyeball for gunshots.
Eyeball for gunshots. Yeah.
This is okay. This is the peak, like beat.
Yeah.
I love it. It sounds like he took gameplay from GoldenEye 64 of like the silenced pistol shooting, and then some like Secret of Mana.
Right. Yes. That's
combat music.
That's what I said.
And just mushed them together, and it actually sounds pretty good.
It's
and
like
he takes the silenced pistol sound out and just copies the like game beat for the rest of the album.
And alters it a little bit. But I do like this beat a lot. I have a whole note here that's like, this is actually kind of good. I probably would not add it to my playlist, but like it kept my interest more than a lot of Viper songs. And it had a decent beat that wasn't as depressing as most of the other songs that we've listened to. The next beat down, or the next note down, I said, Viper also liked the beat because he uses it in the next 8 songs.
It's true.
Yeah.
I have an update, by the way.
Oh, please.
He got a kill. He's moved on to the next gun and gun game.
Oh, good.
In this one, he has the line, "You might hear it out the tech, except these ain't no lecture." Referring to a Tech 9, which is another gun.
Yeah.
So this is the third gun on the album. Also, rhyming tech with lecture is incredible.
He does that a lot, where he will split. He has like a slant rhyme or like a mid word rhyme or like a syllable rhyme, and he'll just stop saying the word to make you know that he knows how to rhyme.
He knows that it doesn't rhyme, but he's gonna say it anyway.
Right. He does that later. I have a note about that later.
Speaking of which, do you have anything else for Eyeball for Gunshots? Because
no, let's move on to Southwest Blood.
I have one note, and it's a line that I could not figure out.
Okay.
It's, "I don't care if you know my location. You will get smoked if you start baller Haitian." That is the genius lyric. I don't hear any real words in there, so I don't know what else it could be. I looked at other lyrics websites, and most of them just have a question mark.
Yeah, that tracks.
Baller Haitian?
If you start that baller Haitian could refer to a person, right? Like Jean Basquiat, right? Like it could refer to a baller Haitian. Like he's a cool dude from the country of Haiti. But that doesn't make any sense when he says start that
get smoked
baller.
If you start baller Haitian, yeah.
Is he maybe like saying hating?
I think that's what it's supposed to be, and he just made it
Haitian
because he's the baller. If you start hating the baller, but he had to rhyme it with location,
right?
Because he just gave away his address in the previous line.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So that's my thought, but
that's probably what it is. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because he was high on crack cocaine when he wrote this fucking album. Like, You can't compare this to a sane person because he's not a sane person. I have a lot of notes about this just sounding like video game music. I said that this song could also be like a town theme for a PS1 RPG. I also wrote 2 more video game notes. Number 1, Viper is probably the final boss of Houston. And then number 2 is that this album, the whole album feels, and especially this song, it feels like it's 5:30 in the morning. You haven't slept at this sleepover that you've been having because you and your buddy have been playing like GoldenEye 64, like you said, for the past like 8.5 hours. And you finally fell asleep and you woke up super early because the sun is in your eyes and you're too tired to get up and turn the TV off. So you just keep hearing the main menu theme over and over and over again.
Yeah. I hate this song a lot.
I hate this fucking album. I fucking hate Viper. He's so bad.
I don't know. I just want to talk about This Is How I Ball.
Yeah, me too.
So I only have one note here, and it's twofold. It's another bad rhyme.
Right.
And it's something very interesting about his like weird reference in this line. You ready for this? This is another story.
Okay.
So the line is, "My toys will let me crush these perpetrators and become a pride annihilator." So
that's kind of tight. I kind of like that.
It is kind of tight. It's like perpetrator and annihilator is a little weird, but it works. And I listened because I was like, "That's a weird line. Does he know that word?" Like, and it's definitely what he says. It's pretty clear. He says it much slower than I just did.
Right.
So I looked it up.
He's hooked on phonics.
I looked it up because I was like, this has got to be something. And so there is this band called Annihilator that is actually very good. I remembered that I had heard them after researching for this little bit here. They are a Canadian metal band started in the 80s. They got really big in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
They made this like concept album about this Canadian girl who supposedly got possessed, and it's like she had like a mental illness or something. Yeah. And they made an album about her like slowly descending into madness. It was cool. Well, they had that was their like peak for a while, and they just kind of swapped members, brief hiatuses. Well, they made a new album that came out in 2005.
Okay.
That was really good, big revival. But the best song on that album, my personal favorite, one that I actually genuinely recommend, is called Pride. So, like, Pride Annihilator.
Yeah.
Pride by Annihilator. So, the song is about someone who's like a young upstart who feels they have to kill and show off their wealth in order to feel like a man.
So, Viper.
And the singer, kind of, but the singer is like a third party who's already made it. And he's like disapproving because this young guy is going about it the wrong way.
Gotcha.
Because the rest of the song, Viper is talking about how if anyone can be successful like him as long as you grind and you don't commit murder. You can threaten to do it, but if you do it, you might go to jail and then you'll never make it.
Okay.
So I think, and this song came out in 2005, which is about, 2 years before?
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years.
This album. This song charted on some rock and metal charts. And it's genuinely really cool. It's so coincidental, right?
Yeah.
That he would say Pride Annihilator when Pride by Annihilator is a song that came out where he could have heard it.
Yeah.
And it's about the same thing that his song is about.
Yeah, maybe.
But also, why would he be listening to
Subliminal. Maybe it came on MTV or something, because he said it was like a pretty popular song, right?
I mean, on the metal chart.
Well, yeah, but it may have, I don't know, it may have come on at some point. Maybe he's subconsciously.
That's what I'm thinking, but it's just because that's weird language for Viper. Like Pride Annihilator. He's never said anything like that.
No, normally he's monosyllabic or 2 syllables at most.
Right.
That's a pretty big word for him. That's an SAT word.
That's true. So I'm more just like confused because it doesn't seem like the kind of reference he would make.
Yeah, maybe his crack dealer is
there.
Maybe his crack dealer is a big metalhead.
Yeah. So just something interesting. I don't know why that works so well.
Yeah.
But definitely recommend listening. Give that song a listen. It's really cool.
All right, man. I'm I'm not a big metal guy, but I'll listen to it. I'll give it a listen.
Maybe Viper is. That's
Maybe
all I'm trying to
Viper
say here.
is. That's true. We know that. I mean, does Viper listen to any music besides his own?
I don't know if Viper listens.
I don't know if Viper listens either, actually. I have
Um,
nothing about this song, so I'm glad that
well,
you spent a lot of time
yeah.
talking about it.
Before we go on, I want to let you know that I have no songs, specific song notes left. All of the others are just random things that I thought about. So
Okay,
as we
good.
go, if you come up with things about specific songs,
Yeah,
please go for it.
I've got like one or two for I've got for the next song, and I'm rich already for life. I have a couple
Okay.
notes, but all the rest of them I have like one note per song.
Well, I
S-
believe Merciless is next. I do have that one at least written down.
right. I'm sorry. You actually meant the song "Pussy Lips," as we determined last night.
Right. Yeah, if you give this song a listen
And
and you have
please,
like the title covered up, don't. I hope that's what you're gonna say. Please don't listen.
well, if you are gonna listen, please don't buy anything to support Viper. He doesn't deserve it.
That's true. Um, if you cover the title of this song, the hook definitely sounds like he's saying "pussy lips."
Right.
100% it sounds that way.
Exactly.
I have to assume it's merciless,
Right.
but he says it really weird.
Yeah, and he does that weird syllable splitting thing where he says one syllable and then he waits like a half beat and then he says the next syllable. And
So it's
that's
like
why it sounds like pussy lips.
merciless.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And it's one of those things like if you listen and you're trying to hear merciless, you can hear merciless. If you hear it without trying, it sounds like pussy lips.
It really does. Um,
The only other two notes I have on this one is number one, we can hear his voice on most of this album, which is again a huge step up from
It
what
really
we're
is.
used to.
It really is.
And he does change his vocal inflection on this song,
He does.
which is I appreciate. There's no features again.
That's
Nope.
something I wanted to mention. This is the only album of Vipers where there's obviously no features,
Right.
but there's 0 samples on this song.
Yeah.
And there are no remixes of old songs.
That was my third note is where's the weird shitty vocal samples that we've come to know and love, because those are some of my favorite parts of the other albums.
I think they come back.
I hope so, because this album again, it sounds like he got like a MIDI keyboard at a garage sale and
Oh,
was
I'll
like,
get to that.
and he was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, I'm going ham on this shit. I'm gonna make."
Actually, I'll get to that right now.
Yeah, go for it.
So Viper made this entire album on a Yamaha motif.
Wait, actually?
Yes. This is a keyboard that was released in 2001, keeping in mind that this album was made and recorded over the span of 2007 and 2008.
Yeah,
It
and
was
that's being
already
generous.
Yeah, this was the base version that released in 2001. There were upgraded models available, but this was no doubt the cheapest thing that he could have bought
Right,
that
right.
would work. And it did specifically specialize in using pre-downloaded MIDI samples
Oh my
to
God.
make songs.
I did not know
So,
any of that.
You are genuinely exactly right. He used
Oh my
what is
God.
effectively a MIDI keyboard to put these beats together, which in a sense is kind of impressive.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
also, like, you can't brag about having all this money and then use a keyboard that was already shitty when it came out and came out 6 years before you made the album.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. I know. So my best friend is a musician. He's really into all this type of stuff. When we were in like 7th or 8th grade, he bought a shitty secondhand MIDI keyboard from like the used section at Garage or Guitar Center, and
Nice.
he made better beats than Viper makes on this album.
Yeah.
In like 7th grade, when it was me and him dicking around in like my parents' attic, like I get it. It is impressive that Viper assumedly taught himself how to use this keyboard and made something like usable. Because if I sat down in front of any keyboard, any Yamaha or whatever, it would take me it would be the equivalent of monkeys writing Shakespeare, right? It would take me an infinite amount of time to figure out how to play that in any way that sounded pleasurable to the ears, which saying pleasurable to the ears about Viper is the ultimate compliment, the ultimate overstatement. But like, on one hand, yeah, it is impressive, but on the other hand, it's like they're not good, so you can't, it's not that impressive.
Right. So when you think of like,
and he gave up. Hold on, gave up. He gave up.
He did give up.
He just used the same one.
He kind of did. When you think of like a MIDI track, sample-based kind of beat rapper, I think of JPEG Mafia.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is something that came up right after I was doing that research.
Yeah.
In 2018, Viper released a diss track aimed at
God.
JPEG Mafia. He said he released a song called To JPEG Mafia, which I believe was just a remix of a song about how he was going to shoot someone.
Okay, good.
It was less of a diss track and more just Viper saying, I'm gonna shoot you. JPEG Mafia.
But now we know he's only going to threaten to shoot JPEG Mafia because if he shot him,
he already made it, so now he can make mistakes.
There you go. Okay.
But I just thought that it was interesting that almost 10 years to the day after this album came out, Viper was dissing someone who just did his thing better.
Like, just infinitely better. Absolutely. That's hilarious. The next song, the only thing I have written is that Viper remains the worst part of his albums, so we'll skip I Like the Way. I don't really give a shit about that song.
That's good.
The next one up is I'm Rich Already for the number 4, Life.
Yep.
And I first from the start, I gotta say, while the beats may be different, at least he is still super consistent with his song structure of hook for about a minute and a half, way too fucking long. Verse, hook, outro. Like, every single fucking song is the exact same. You know that you're going to hear his hook because in the first 30 seconds, and then he's going to repeat it a bunch throughout the song. You know you're going to hear 2 shitty verses that you can't understand, and you know that it's going to fade out for way too fucking long. And this song is no different.
I gotta say, the next one might be
no.
better at doing that formula.
I had one other note about this song.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I as I was writing this note, I was writing, this is potentially the best song. The beat is somewhat creative instrumentally. The vocals are okay. And then in the middle of writing vocals are, I had to dash it out, mark it out, and write, wait, never mind, he uses an anti-gay slur. So that's great.
Sure
Thanks.
Does.
Thanks.
It sure does.
And it's super prominent. It's super like I can barely understand.
Only clear word in the entire song.
Absolutely, I can barely understand what Viper is saying 95% of the time, but he really wants you to know that he does not approve of gay relationships, and so I had to write out.
"I Ball for Gunshots" is the best song. Yeah, no, I thought that too, because I think starting in Merciless all the way through I Like the Way into I'm Rich for Life.
Rich
the only
already
word,
for life.
it was just right. There was just like, it was like porridge in my ears.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that word just jumps out at you, and then you don't hear anything else for like 7 minutes.
He says it so. He wants you to know. He wants to say it so bad. He wants to, as we would say in the business, parlay that to you.
He's parlaying for sure.
He is parlaying. And the only note that I have here is I want to kill myself for writing this, but the instrumental almost has some Radiohead in it. I can't remember why particularly I thought that. Jesus, I just had a stroke. But for whatever reason, I was like, you know what? I can hear one of my favorite bands, probably my top 3 favorite bands, Radiohead, in this. Maybe it was just, I'm like, God, I wish I was listening to fucking Radiohead right now. But that's my only note for parlaying. Here's
an interesting thing about parlaying.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw an interview with Viper that he did with like a local paper or something.
Oh, lovely.
That said that he wrote parlaying. He was not inspired directly, but he watched the final State of the Union address from George W. Bush. And it inspired him to make the song
himself.
Parlaying. And so he said that that's about the only song he remembers the exact day he wrote it on.
I love that.
I don't believe it because
I don't
I
either.
don't believe he watched a State of the Union address.
Absolutely not. Unless he was at the fucking car wash and it was just on. No,
That
there's no
is
chance.
words from him himself.
Although,
That is
again,
apparently...
like I just said, he is a fellow Texan, so maybe there's some
That's
kinship.
true.
Maybe there's some
That's
kinship
true.
there. And George Bush also hates gay people, so
That's
they've
true.
got that in common as well. God, fuck George Bush and fuck Viper. Let's move on to you acting like a bitch ass N-word.
Yeah, no, we don't have to.
Yeah, the only note I have for that is this is awful.
Yeah, this is like I said, he says the naughty word in "I'm Rich Already for Life," and then you don't hear anything, and then "My Money Rolls" is the next one, which we can stop and talk about, of course. But "My Money Rolls" is only 1 minute and 59 seconds long.
And for whatever reason, on the version that I listened to, it was not listed as that. It was listed as parlaying again.
Yes. My point here is that from that point on, "My Money Rolls," the last three songs I think are Viper testing your patience.
Yeah.
Because he goes, "I'm a Gangsta" is 4 minutes long. "I'm Gone Sting," again, Gone,
Right.
is 4 minutes and 57 seconds long.
Yeah.
And "That Baller Out Your Whatever" is 5 minutes and 3 seconds long. Those are those are the two longest songs on the album at the very end.
Yeah. 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 So the only ones I have a couple notes about "I'm a Real G."
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the mixing is awful. It is arguably the worst on the album. Anytime the bass picks up, the vocals just drop completely out. Viper also says the lyrics, "I don't understand these N-words," and my note is, "Viper, I don't understand you."
Nice.
And my final note is this is where I started to notice, even on my first listen of this album, what we were talking about a minute ago, where he will just break words apart to make them fit a rhyme. And he breaks the word security, which is like a 2-syllable word, into 3 distinct syllables by going, "a false sense of security." Like, and
Oh my god.
he just repeats security, and it's 3 security. That's the equivalent of nuclear, right? It's security.
Yeah. I agree. I'd like to start a new segment on this show really quick, if you
Okay,
don't mind. I
absolutely.
think this is a good time.
Yeah, fuck
We
it.
could obviously continue to go through these last three
No,
key songs.
the only note I have for "I'm Gone Sting" is that snakes bite, not sting. You dumb shit.
Okay.
And then the only note I have for "That Baller Out Your Best Side" is that it's RuneScape music, and that's it.
It is kind of RuneScape music. So I decided to do a little research because, again, after I wrote the title for Merciless, and then I didn't come up with a single note
Right.
specifically about any one song for the rest of the album.
Right.
So I decided to do some research about what was happening in the background of this historic event of making Y'all Cowards.
All right. Good.
So there's an important period of time for film that was happening pretty much during the entire time he was writing this album.
Okay.
The big Writers Guild of America strike started
Right.
in 2007 and
Right.
went through 2008.
Right.
During that period, some pretty influential movies came out. So my question to you is, of these three, The Dark Knight, Kung Fu Panda, or
Ooh.
Wall-E, which one do you think Viper wrote? Obviously, the answer is none of them, but
Right.
someone had to write them.
Yeah, that's fair. It might as well have been Viper. I don't think it was Dark Knight. Because if it was Dark Knight, it would have been set in Houston, rather than New York City. I'm gonna go with Kung Fu Panda because I feel like Jack Black and Viper probably would be pretty cool.
I think you're right.
I think
but
they
for a
I think
Go
that
ahead,
they
go
would.
ahead.
I think that they could hang out. I think that Jack Black would definitely smoke some of Viper's crack. I think that would be. You know what? I want a Tenacious D reboot with Jack Black and Viper.
Viper, I think that would be excellent. However, I think there's another reason why he wrote Kung Fu Panda.
Okay.
In Kung Fu Panda, one of the seven Furious 5, what are they? Furious 5? That sounds right.
Yeah.
Is a Viper. Not only did he make the
Oh!
Viper strong, he also made her hot.
Yeah,
That's all
that's
I'm saying.
right. That's right. That is true. I
He
forgot
made
about
himself a
that.
woman, just like the guy who's made the new Powerpuff Girls.
Dude,
series.
I have a vivid childhood memory of like my dad taking me and my little brother to go see Kung Fu Panda in theaters
Nice.
on like a teacher work day from school or whatever. And I vividly remember seeing, no, maybe it was Wally. It was either Kung Fu Panda or Wally. They came out around the same time. And he took us to the movie theater, and I remember vividly it was the shitty movie theater in the gross southern town that I grew up in. And then we went to a CC's Pizza, which I don't know if that's a national chain, but it is the grossest the grossest restaurant on the planet. And I just remember being just visibly and physically ill from the moment I stepped into that CC's Pizza until like 3 days later. My dad, like, we had the day off from school, and I ended up taking like the entire rest of the week off from like just CC's poops. It was awful.
I want to take a quick step here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I like that story a lot.
Don't let me
also,
unpack my trauma on fucking Mike here.
I'm gonna also deviate a little bit here.
Go for it, man. We got
Have you
19
seen
more
the-
minutes to fill.
Okay, have you seen that controversy of the recent-ish Powerpuff Girls reboot, where one of the occasional writers made himself into a character and then set up a situation where Blossom dated his character, and his character only appeared in the episodes that he wrote, and as soon as he left the show, his character
Oh.
stopped showing up?
Interesting.
This man became an artist, made himself into a cartoon, and then got his childhood cartoon crush to date him.
Well, I mean,
I think he's a hero.
that's kind of what Dan Schneider did, but with real people, right?
True. All right, here's another thing that happened around the time
right,
that Viper was
yeah,
writing this, and this one's
absolutely.
really interesting. You actually might know about this.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about the USA 193 satellite like conspiracy?
I feel like I have. Is that the Dark Knight or the Dark fucking maybe I may have
right,
heard of it,
so-
but I don't have easily accessible
US
knowledge on it.
193 was a satellite that was set up for international spying,
Oh, okay.
supposedly.
Then I have no
But
idea what
it's-
this is.
Okay. It is still to this day classified what it was supposed to be doing, what it did, what it was made out of, which was bad because at some point, randomly in early 2008, the U.S. Navy just kind of shot it down
I
for
love that.
apparently no reason.
Yeah.
And so there were these like pieces of debris that were falling over the span of the last like several years because the last pieces didn't come down until like 2015.
Jesus Christ! They shot it
there
down
were-
like a decade ago.
Yeah, in 2008.
my
So like
God.
8 years later, there were still a couple of pieces around.
God.
But there were also concerns because the plans for the satellite weren't revealed. So they were worried that there might have been some like nuclear fuel involved or
my
some
God,
kind
what
of
the fuck?
chemical coolant. But the U.S. military and government weren't willing to say anything about it.
Yeah.
This
Thanks,
led
Obama.
to everyone having no idea what happened, why it was shot down. Eventually, they claimed that it was having some navigational issues. Even though it was already properly in orbit, they decided it would be safer to just shoot it.
How do you shoot something out of space?
The Navy like got one of those planes that can go like right at the edge of the atmosphere, I think.
Dude,
and they
holy
just
fuck.
Shot something. It's kind of crazy.
That's
Then
wild.
Russia gets involved.
Oh, Jesus.
So
Goddamn
Russia-
Ruskies.
They claim that this was no accident. This was a setup to threaten Russia's satellites to show that the U.S. had the power to shoot satellites down.
Dude, that's
And
big
that
dick
they were
energy.
also willing to put up nuclear-powered satellites
Fuck
over
yeah.
Russian space and
Fuck
shoot
yeah.
it down, showering nuclear debris over Russian cities.
Fuck
That is what
yeah.
they claimed.
Absolutely.
To this day, people don't know exactly what happened with USA Satellite 193 or why it was shot down. No one's willing to talk about it that knew. No one knows if the entire western seaboard of the United States and Hawaii and then later random parts of like Croatia were accidentally exposed to hazardous material.
That's
No one
fine.
knows, and we never will.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna put this online. If you live in California, you deserve to have that done to you. You deserve to be just flooded with radioactive waste.
So here's my question.
All right, yeah, tie this back into Viper, please.
Do you think that so Viper says this is important information. I don't know if any of you all have heard this. Viper claims that he's still holding on an unreleased, like, he's made so many versions of this album. But there's like a Viper cut deluxe album that's twice the length.
Yeah. It's the
Opton's Crude or whatever.
No, it's
whatever.
Zack Snyder cut.
It's the new DC Justice League Viper, you all cowards, Zack Snyder cut. Do you think that it was too powerful? It had to be sent to space, but then Viper called in a favor from God, with whom he just repurchased his soul with this album.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just with the first song.
Yeah.
God was like, hey, U.S. government, the devil's in space. We need this album shot down immediately.
So when
they were like,
when was it shot? It was shot down in 2008?
Yeah.
So that was still Bush. Okay. All right. Interesting. There's potential there. Maybe so.
So this is where my next question comes into play.
All right, yeah, keep it going.
Do you think that this situation inspired Viper to write Wally?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no. I'm gonna say that Viper was too preoccupied with smoking crack fucking cocaine. But maybe. You know, I'm not.
I think you're buying into what he's selling you, which is never a good idea with Viper.
That's true. I have a couple things written down. All
right.
These are just vibes that came into my brain this week.
Okay.
Viper strikes me as, and this is, I'm just gonna put this out to the world, and you guys can, tell me to fuck off and burn in hell in the comments or whatever. Viper strikes me as the type of guy who definitely, like, in around that same time when this came out in like 2008, I feel like he was wearing baggy, oversized, like Stewie Griffin t-shirts, or like
nice.
the Thug SpongeBob t-shirts. I feel like he was that guy, and he was hanging around at like the local mall, going to the tornado machine and spending all of his ones there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the type of guy. I also wrote down, I wish Viper had gotten bullied more, because I feel like we would have had a much better life if he had.
It would have been tough because he was a member of what was effectively the Houston subsection of the Bloods.
Yeah, well, he claims that, but I don't buy that. I don't buy that in the slightest, man. Because he says that you could talk tough, but you just don't act on it. You know?
That's true. Well, I think he's giving that advice to young people in the game, not necessarily that he did that himself.
Right. Okay.
I think that was him trying to share.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do.
Right, because he talked about, like, there's all these young kids that are always trying to show off to me, but, like, you don't gotta do it the way I do it. Just grind and stay safe.
Dude, fucking, how shitty of a person do you have to be to try and show off to fucking Viper? Like, just imagine how much of a sack of shit your life has to be to where you're trying to impress fucking Lee Carter.
Yeah, I think it makes sense if they're people from the project that he lives in, because I looked up Hiram Clark, and it's bad. It's been bad since, like, it was built more than 50 years ago at this point. Like, it's old as hell.
Yeah.
Notable people that came from there, like, Viper is the third most notable person to have ever come out of that project.
Okay, all right.
So, like, if that's where you're growing up,
who's number 1 and 2?
There was some, like, state senator, and then someone who was like the mayor of Houston or something.
Viper could absolutely be elected the mayor of Houston. He could absolutely get elected to be the mayor of Houston. There is no doubt in my mind.
I was sort of wrong. So here we go. The most notable resident is Wanda Adams. She is a current member of Houston City Council.
Salute.
Lawrence Allen, is
Her
a
husband?
member of the Texas Board of Education
Is it her
and
husband?
son of a Texas House of Representatives member.
Okay.
I don't know how you can be in the House of Representatives and have your son live in a project, but
Yeah.
that's okay. The author of I Can't Date Jesus, Michael Arcano.
Now,
I don't know
now
anything about that guy. And then Viper, and then someone named Big Mello. Although Latoya Luckett, former member of Destiny Child,
Oh, fuck yeah.
is in here, and Vince Young,
Wait, like,
quarterback in the NFL.
yeah, fucking that Vince Young? How is he not number one? What?
I'm sort of questioning because the next like 3 people in a row are
Is it in alphabetical order?
no, because the first woman's name is Wanda.
Well, last name.
No, because Viper is just Viper.
All right, well, fuck. Why is Vince Young not number goddamn one? That's insane.
I don't know.
I fucking hate football, and I know who Vince Young is.
Caesar Sedano, professional baseball player for the Astros.
Interesting.
Sid Blanks played for the Houston Oilers.
Wow.
And Jimmy Wynn also played for the Astros.
Wow, interesting. Well, that's cool.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of cool people that live in that project.
That's the entire list.
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting another GoFundMe to get Will and I to move to the Hiram Clark Projects of Houston, Texas. We're gonna get a
won't need much money. That's
we're gonna get a 1-bedroom apartment in the worst spot, and we're gonna Cory Booker this bitch.
Wow, yeah. So it already existed, and it was annexed by Houston in the 1950s.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Hey, I had a quote that I heard today, and you know a lot more about basketball than I do, so I wanted to, or not today, but I heard it this week. I wanted to run it by you and see if it's true. Is Michael Jordan really on the record as saying Republicans buy sneakers too?
That is correct.
Fuck yeah.
So there was a point, I think it was during maybe 2 or 3 years ago, LeBron James had said something. And
as he's wont to do.
Yeah, usually it's pro-China, but he said something about
fuck.
Yeah, he does that a lot, but he's also like pro Black Lives Matter, which is that's good.
Yeah.
But some senator or congressperson told him to shut up and dribble, which is
wow,
which is kind of rough.
I bet you I can guess what their race was.
So that's correct. So LeBron put this "I will not just shut up and dribble" campaign out. It was really popular, and it's spurred a bunch of. But Michael Jordan was asked to comment, and he had refused for months, and kind of behind closed doors, no cameras kind of deal.
Yeah.
But also 2 media members said Republicans buy sneakers too.
Dude,
I think he'd said that before when he was younger as well.
Yeah. Because
back in the day, it was very normal for
Michael
celebrities
Jordan to
be politically involved, and it still is.
Right.
But he refused to get political because Republicans buy sneakers too. So this has been a long-standing thing for him. He is purposely not political, despite whatever he might believe,
right?
Simply because it is not good for the brand.
Right. Well, that's good. Shout out Michael Jordan.
Yeah, worst owner in the NBA. Well, maybe not. The guy in Phoenix is pretty bad too.
Phoenix still has a basketball team?
Yeah, the Suns. Their guy Robert Sarver is the owner. He's real cheap ass. He also, when they got a new general manager, he put a live goat in his office.
Fuck yeah.
And left it there over the weekend. So by the time the GM got there for his first day,
the goat
was dehydrated, half dead, and had shit everywhere.
Oh my god. Dude, I gotta get into the NBA. I gotta get into the NBA. That shit sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Was when Shaq was going by the big Aristotle, was he in Phoenix at that point, or was he still at the Lakers?
That was I'm trying to think. I think that would have been later.
Yeah, okay.
Later in his career, maybe even after
the Suns.
Yeah.
Dude, for whatever reason, I just the Suns.
Actually, I take that back. He gave it to himself
after
he won the MVP award in 2000.
That's correct. He said to all my friends in the media who were always looking for a big nickname for me, I want to go by, from here henceforth I shall be known as the big Aristotle.
Yeah.
That's one of my... I love
So
Shaq.
he was a Laker. So yeah, there you go.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason, like every time I look at or think of the Phoenix Suns, and their uniform, it just feels very 90s to me. Like the purple and orange and like the logo feels just really, really 1990s, early 2000s for me.
Yeah,
Um,
they've switched it up a little bit, but they're still pretty similar with the big, like blazing basketball,
right, right.
like sharp geometry.
Right. The Heat feel like that too to me, where it's like
Yeah,
that singular, it's not a team name, it's like it's not a plural name. It is
we're just heat.
we are Heat. Who's your favorite Heat?
Yeah.
Like
They also 3 years ago they made these really nice Miami Vice uniforms.
Oh, that's sick.
And then it was like the purple was the base, and they
Uh-huh.
had like the hot pink lettering. It was really good. And then the next year they did it with the pink instead of the purple, and it
Mhm.
was less nice. And
Mhm.
then this year they made it where it starts pink on the left side and it like fades into the purple on the
Oh,
right.
Jesus.
It's like they did it good once. It's like Viper in a way.
Yeah.
They had a good idea, they had a good beat, and they slowly chopped and screwed it until it
It
wasn't
was
good anymore.
garbage. Yeah. Dude, I want to come back as a ghost and haunt Viper. That's my end goal in life. I hope that
I want
this
to unplug him from his cryogenic freeze chamber.
Yeah, that's fair. I just want like cuz I'm going to die before Viper, obviously. I have a terrible I'm just my body is constantly in pain. I woke up this morning with like a sharp hip pain because I laid wrong in the bed. Like I'm going to die before Viper for sure. That man has had it like the crack cocaine in his body is going to keep his heart pumping for at least the next millennium.
I
Um
believe he's part mouse, considering all the things he thinks are cheese.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or maybe he's part crow because he really likes cool knots and their interesting geometric designs. But like,
Mm.
I really would. If this podcast gets any popularity, which I'm gonna just assume that it never will because it's a podcast and there's a million of them. But if it ever does, I just want everybody who listens to this to put your arms in the air, and when you hear this, just give me your energy that I will become a ghost and haunt Viper for the
And
rest of
then
his
we're
life.
gonna use the energy to drop a spirit bomb on him.
Yep, that's what I was going for.
Okay.
Um, uh,
So if there's anything you should take away from this episode, it's that we intend to bomb the Hiram Clark project
well,
with spirit.
okay, all right, okay. Let's put that disclaimer out there. There's more people that live there. I'm not. Does Viper even still live there? Or is he just from there?
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
fuck it.
Where's he
It
going?
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's fair. You know
He
what?
makes his money selling crap.
You know what?
Where else
Fuck
is
it.
he-
Houston blows anyways. We're just gonna gonna spirit bomb the whole fucking city. Go to hell, oil companies. I guess I don't know.
Fuck you, Tillman Fertitta,
Who?
the owner of the Houston Rockets. He's
How do
also
you
a
know
casino guy and asshole.
Oh, like Sheldon Adelson or whatever his name is. That dude that just ate it. That fucking died.
Yeah,
He's a casino guy, right?
yeah, they all are.
Yeah, they're all scumbags. If you own a casino, you're a piece of shit. Who's the best owner in the NBA?
Dude, probably Mark Cuban.
I was gonna ask if it was Mark Cuban.
He's at least likable. I don't know.
Mark Cuban has
he's
a
pretty
dad
good.
bod. He's got a dad bod.
Yeah, they also had that issue in the office a while back where there was some office misconduct being
Oh, great.
somewhat ignored.
Yeah, I love that for Mark.
Oh, also big shout out to Steve Ballmer, the Clippers' new owner,
Dude, he's
former
got-
Microsoft co-president.
He's got ball
He
in
likes-
his name.
He does. He likes to dance. He's kind of like weird shaped and bald, but he'll sit in the sideline. And I don't think it's like he co-founded Microsoft. Like he's a tech
Yeah,
dude. He
yeah. I
definitely
was gonna say.
probably doesn't get basketball that much.
Yeah.
But he sits on the sideline and like just fucking boogies all
Good
day
for him, man.
watching his team.
Fuck
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
I
He's the richest owner in the NBA by a lot.
I was gonna say weird shaped and bald describes like 90% of dudes in tech anyway. So like I would have just assumed that when you said that he was doing something like that. All right,
Seems
well
like a cool guy.
we somehow filled up an hour of bullshit tonight. It's only episode 2 and we're going off the rails.
Yeah, so everyone go out and buy a Yamaha motif, shoot down a satellite, and give me your energy. And buy 4 guns.
Buy 4 separate guns, but you can only use the next one after you've gotten your first kill.
That's true. Don't get knifed or you go back a gun.
Right, exactly. I don't think I was going to say something, but I've entirely forgotten it. Oh, no, I was going to say the Yamaha motif, that's the new TikTok challenge. Put up hashtag Viper challenge and try and make a beat on your Yamaha motif that's better than anything on this fucking album.
That's a good idea.
All right, I'm Garrett.
And I'm Will.
And this has been 2 Cowards Who Don't Even Smoke Crack. See you guys next week.